We're on record now. For those of you who care about the sunshine law.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Steve.
Okay. 3, 2.
Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
We want to welcome everyone watching this program on replay, and thank you for joining us. I'm Steve, the Bookman Eisenstein, and this is the Rare Book Cafe, the first and only program of its type in the entire world about antiquarian books. We want to thank you for joining us on Blab.im. The Rare Book Cafe is brought to you by the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair, 37 years, coming up in 2017. My regular
36,
guest,
actually.
36 actually,
36.
making a rat of slip. My regular guest today is Thorne Donnelley, and my co-host of Liberty Books in West Palm Beach, and we are being joined by Madlyn Blom, the Old Bag Lady Books. That's the name of her bookstore.
That's right.
And she is also a board member of the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair. Just to give you a little more about the program, later in the program, Edie's going to be talking about miniature books. Madlyn, I think we've already put you through the 3rd degree. Thorne, we just lost you audio-visual-wise. So as always, through the miracle of modern technology, visitors to our live show can send text and comments. If you have a question about a book, about anything related to the wonderful world of rare books, please type in the question. We're always watching, and we welcome them. The pair of hands you see in each corner of our pictures represent applause. If you like what you're hearing, just let us know. It is appreciated. And if you're new to the program and want to be informed about other episodes, you can find notices on Twitter or on Blab. And finally, this program is being recorded, so you or your friends can watch the replay on Blab or on the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair blog at floridabookfair.blogspot.com. That's floridabookfair.blogspot.com. Madlyn, welcome to the show. Tell us about what's going on, what we know that's different this week from last, about what's going on with the new book fair dates.
Wow. Due to circumstances, as they say, beyond our control, the dates for the book fair in 2017 have changed. For years, the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair has been the second weekend of March, which coincidentally always falls on my birthday, give or take a few days. And I always thought it was wonderful because everybody just had a big book fair party for me. You know, how good does it get? But this year, or next year, I should say, in March, we won't be there for my birthday. My husband will have to take me out for dinner. Poor guy. We are moving the fair to April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And that is to accommodate the New York Book Fair change because of various circumstances they have going on. And we just couldn't do without all the book fair people from New York and that East Coast. So we are giving this April date a 1-year try.
And okay, so it will be those dates. Say them one more time.
April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's beyond Easter this year, which is unusual for us.
And then can we get into some hypothetics?
Okay.
Okay.
Give it a shot.
All right. That's what I do best. I'm sorry.
Is this playing the game of trick the guest?
No.
All right, let's
No,
give it.
seriously. Okay, the book fair happens in April. Let's go. Everybody's happy. The financial results for the dealers, are, it's satisfactory and above, which it always is in, the book fair.
Right.
We would run the same gamut. We would stay there for the next year at those dates, or would we, even though it's good, move back? Or would we go to February as had been suggested?
We don't know yet. What the board has decided to do is survey all of the Florida Antiquarian Booksellers membership And they are not all the same as the people who attend the fair. And we're going to try to survey to see what the majority really prefers at this point. But we don't expect that it's going to stay in April. No, we expect that it will probably go to February.
If I heard you the wrong way, I apologize. But did you say you were going to survey just the Florida Antiquarian Book Dealers members, or you were going to survey also?
The fair members are always surveyed at the end of the fair. So what we're going to do is also survey all the membership of Florida Antiquarian Booksellers Association, even though they might not have been able to attend that particular fair. So we want a broad input in terms of what the preferences are, in addition to having to work out what's available with the Coliseum. So we're going to get a wide perspective, a lot of input, and then make the decision from that.
Thorne, any thoughts? You're a board member also.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with what she was saying. We've really got to concentrate on getting next year April, because we do have some issues with, it's a time zone. A lot of people just think of us, oh yeah, that certain weekend in March that happens to be a birthday, or for a lot of reasons for that. We have to see how that goes. We had this kind of surprised us. So now we've got a date for next year. We've got that all set up. We're able to publicize that, start that going. Well, then I think we have to do a great job on that one, and then we'll have another year. I think what we probably need to do is talk, or have Sarah talk to the people at the Coliseum to see what's available. Apparently, the Coliseum does a lot of events that I didn't know about that are only one-year events. They do weddings, they do high school graduations. So we need to have a date that we can lock in for hopefully the foreseeable future. I don't know whether we sign contracts or what we do, but I think we have to give it a lot of thought. April, to me, seems a little late, but I may be totally wrong. February, I like, because it's really nasty up in New England. And there's also some people, we get the first shot at some of the sales and all that before some of the other book shows. I find an appealing fact. But this is only my third or fourth year being involved with this show, and I'm trying to be a good board member by attending and paying attention, but primarily listening and learning to what all the other booksellers have to say. And I think Madlyn is doing a great job. We have to get this 2017 happening. That's enough work right now, but 2018, 19, and 20, all I know is that for 2020, the Super Bowl is going to be in Miami. Yeah. But beyond that, that's how far ahead they plan those things. They plan events like that 5 years, 6 years in advance. So I do know we have to just casually call up the Coliseum and say, hey, we don't need these dates. We have to give them a couple of years notice also, I believe. Madlyn, I think that.
I'm sorry. I'm echoing. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can.
Am I echoing?
Yes, you are. But I have earphones on, so it.
No, I know. I can't figure out why I'm echoing. Not much I can do about it.
That's better.
Maybe it'll just go away. That usually happens. Maybe I spoke too soon. We got on the same time, but there's sometimes a technical issue. Anyway, I think April is the wisest decision, for next year. I think waiting to see is absolutely the way to go, but I have a partiality. After all I've heard and thought about for February, if we're going to change the date and not go back to where we were, February sounds like all the right reasons to be there.
We couldn't do it we would have done it in February this year if we had been able to, but the Coliseum was locked up date-wise. Or locked down, or whatever you want. It was busy. So we had to go to an April date, unfortunately, by the time we found out about the New York problem.
And when you consider all the things, you got a tremendous logistic. You guys as a board did a great job.
Thank you.
It's the only way I can say it as an observer,
Well, an advantage of having another date this year is that the Grand Prix is going on in St. Petersburg again next year for the next 2 years, and the hotel rates had increased. So this way, the people who come from out of town and need to stay at a hotel, and the dealers won't have to pay as much in hotel expenses.
Yeah.
Let me say that this is not editorial content, just my own personal opinion. I was really looking forward to the book fair being the same dates as the auto race.
Oh.
Okay. Now, this is the entertainment director in me. Okay. When you have 150,000 people in town for an auto race,
Right.
the first thing I would do is I would pray for rain if I was a book dealer, and then I would make sure that those people knew that our book fair was going on, and that we dedicated the theme of the book fair to automotivism for automotiano.
Yeah, right. Whatever the word is for automotive words, right?
Because I really think with 150,000 people in town, if we got a fraction of a percent, that's still 300-400 more people than we would have had, and we're breaking records every year.
Hey, it could happen, but
this is not.
I understand, and it was a good fair last year. We had highest attendance last year, maybe not by that many more, but a good attendance. But not one person that we know of sold any automotive books. So maybe it was the lives of the racers or something.
There's a difference, but you and I think I've talked to all of you about this off air, so to speak, and that is I would have advertised in their pre-show journals and in the race journal. And if we said it to them the right way, we might have even gotten it, since we're a non-profit,
Right. You never know.
Public service announcements. Yeah, just as food for thought. If we wind up in the same month again,
Well, even if not, we could always do that just in case people are reading the brochures who are local that haven't read the advertising elsewhere,
Well, I would. True. I would say the dollars would have been better spent if we were in the same weekend.
Well,
Otherwise,
agree.
the information is not applicable.
Right.
So that's the other thing. One of my other in-between meal jobs was marketing and surveys and all that for liquor companies. So
Well,
that's
wish
another
we
thing.
could
We should get
have
Amaretto.
accommodated you.
We should get Amaretto Di Serrano or somebody to sponsor. I ask this again, since we're just talking hypothetics. Would there be a problem with a liquor company sponsoring an antiquarian book fair?
As long as they sold red wine, I wouldn't have a problem.
Okay. No, well, actually, somewhere on a shelf back there is a plastic cup.
Yeah.
It is the plastic cup that represents the first glass of wine that was ever served at the Coliseum at the book fair.
Is that right?
Yeah, the first year they had liquor there a few years ago.
Well,
I claim that.
I do know there is some liquor and some wine under a few tables at the show.
Yeah.
For medicinal purposes only. Yeah. Now, I don't know what the the board doesn't have an official stance on that, let us put it that way. So I would assume it's up for discussion if you want to propose it. We discuss all kinds of things at the board meeting. So that's...
No, I don't think there's any prohibition in the bylaws I've ever seen.
No.
I don't think we've ever been... Have we ever been sponsored by anybody?
Well, the book fair has advertising type of arrangements, like with the newspaper, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
And ABAA runs that kind of thing. But for a total sponsorship for, thousands of dollars, I'm not aware.
I had a liquor company sponsor a book fair once. What I would say is this, tongue-in-cheek and seriously at the same time, excuse me. I still want to try and put together books on the beach. And if I can get books on the beach, I am going to go to a liquor company that I did a book fair with what is referred to as the Amaretto di Serrano Book Fair and bookselling history in Florida, and see if I can get them to do it. If it works out and it's all compatible, then we can consider it after that. But this is hypothetics. You know?
Yeah. We're willing to listen to all kinds of sponsorship ideas. We're not tied into any particular situation.
Did you ever hear of the, I know I've told the full story to Thorne, did you ever hear of the Amaretto di Serrano Book Fair at the Marco Polo?
No, I haven't.
Okay. It was called, in actuality, the first annual Books on the Beach Book Fair, and it was held at the Marco Polo Hotel. Mike and Kathy were there. Sarah was there as a child running around under the exhibit tables.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people were there. There were about 20 some odd dealers there. I was the entertainment director of the hotel. I had been a rare bookie for many years before that.
This was in St. Petersburg?
No, this was in Miami Beach at the world famous Marco Polo Hotel in Sunny Isles in Miami Beach. So, being in the position of the entertainment director, I knew the room was logistically correct for a book fair. I controlled everything, so there couldn't be anything, you know, that would go wrong, you know, in logistically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the book fair off. It was sponsored by Amaretto di Serrano. I got enough bottles of Amaretto to sample the audience and give every book dealer there a bottle for a gift on the way home.
Wow.
That's how it got its name, the Amaretto di Serrano Book. And Kathy and Mike, you know, we still talk about it sometimes with others that were there. So anyway, I'll tell you the story that very few people, showing me. That very few people do know about it. And that is this. It's Sunday. The fair is over. I walk through the room and make sure it's empty. I go home. The next morning, I get there about 12 o'clock. I open up the doors to the room, and there's an army of people working on the floor. The roof had collapsed at about 12 o'clock that night from a violent rainstorm.
Oh, no.
Had I not been that night the night before, this show would not exist now, at least with me as the host. And that's bookselling history. The echo is killing me.
Yeah, it's got pretty bad. It's like you have
No, it's on my end.
I
want to talk. I'm going to introduce it. You got to take over.
That didn't help.
Madlyn,
What?
do you have anything that you would... Am I still echoing?
Nope.
Okay, it went away.
No.
Maybe that was the spaceship taking off that noise.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe it was a boat going by and giving interference. I never thought of that. Okay. Do you have anything in front of you as a prop that you would like to show?
You know, I happen to have a couple of things here. Just so happens, as they say. I have 3 items, and here's one, signed and sketched by Hendrik Van Loon. How about that?
Nice.
Personal stationery, a typed letter, and that one was not dated. I don't see dates on these for some reason. This one was typed. It has no handwritten illustration, but it's again signed and on stationery.
What's the content?
Just a second here. And this one is totally handwritten.
Wow. What is the content? What is the content?
They're talking about different items. They obviously have been written, let's see, 20, 25, 26. The handwritten one was 1927. And the other one on the Van Loon one is talking about meetings and that sort of thing. if my eminent medical advisors allow me to come, I shall most certainly come to your meeting on the 14th. But it's a full
When did he die? When did Hendrik Van Loon die in relation to the date on that letter?
1944 he died.
Oh,
And,
okay, letter's much earlier.
1927 was the one date, so it's not the last letter he wrote, no doubt. But it is handwritten, and one of them, like I say, shows that he did individual. It's one of a kind illustration.
Wow.
I think it's wonderful.
Very nice. In the days of the A.B. Bookman's Weekly, he was always wanted, Van Loon, and he still is. Well, I mean, it's been a long time, but we found one of those, books stuffed with a couple of letters years ago and some doodles on the end paper. They went very quickly. I hope you have equal success. I
hope that I do. I don't have them listed anyplace as of yet, so they're seen first right here on the Book Cafe.
Thank you.
I thought maybe you might enjoy seeing those.
Sure.
So
love to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the individual illustration. It's personalized. He illustrated almost every one of his books, if not every one. And I read a little blurb about him that said that he considered kids weren't really educated unless they had a desire to draw. That teachers should inspire, parents should inspire their kids to draw as a part of their education. Not that they all had to become illustrators, but the need to express themselves in a picture, in a drawing, was an important element of education.
I wish you were my art teacher. I can't draw to save my life. If somebody had said that to me as a kid, I might be Picasso.
I have the same problem. I hope it's not an indication of education totally as he hoped, but I think the learning, I think he was talking about learning and expressing your thoughts in a drawing, regardless of what stick form it takes, is really an important part of learning something about yourself and getting your brain to work.
Right, I want to give a shout out. We are being joined right now. Margaret, if there's a way you can come in and join us, Margaret Nicoletti has a radio program on WDBFradio.com, and I see she just joined us. So, Margaret, hi. If you got a question, welcome to the audience. How does it feel to sit on the other side of the microphone, I asked. Wait, who's calling in here? Let me see what we got here. Don't get crazy on me. I'm not sure who's coming in. Let's see who no, I'm not. Okay, Allan, are you taking over? Allan, I'm going to let you get in on Allan. I think Allan's doing something behind the scenes. Wait a minute. Allan's coming back in. Okay.
So what do you want?
So does it? No. I'm asking. I was going to bring somebody in, but I saw you. I didn't realize you were with us behind the scenes.
I'll pop back out and let somebody come in.
Okay. If anybody has a question out there, book related, type it into margin. We would be happy to answer it for you. If you are going to join us for something book related and not the promulgation of your show on WDBF Radio, join us. Anyway, so a nice find. It's good. I'm liking our audience response today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And remember, we're on replay. And if you want to, you can send this program as a link to anyone if you're a subscriber, just to let you know. Thorne, anything been walking through the door with you of an interest of the last period of time since we
actually, I've just been trying to catalog and post things and keep up with. We had a pretty good Memorial weekend online, so I had a lot of shipping to do. So it's just been kind of a relaxing week, waiting for this show. Didn't buy anything. I had a couple of early 18th century books come in, but they were just in very bad shape. And as you and everybody else is so kind to teach me, it's condition. And just because it's old, it ain't good. And basically, so nothing really too exciting to report. Perhaps my skill level or taste level is increasing, but unfortunately, and at this time of year, I don't know. It seems like a lot of the estates, a lot of the people. I get more calls from people coming to want to, they're selling their houses and stuff in the winter and want me to come look at their books. I think the summer, the Palm Beach, West Palm Beach County, generally South Florida slows down a bit in the summer for most things. So, but I never, like every day is Christmas around here. I can literally never know what's going to walk through the door. So tomorrow's another day. Although tomorrow I'll be in Orlando, so if anything walks through the door,
you'll miss it.
I'll tell you something. It's also salmon cycles. You know, you find that the books walk through the door in cycles.
Yeah.
And for the last couple of weeks, you were doing really good. For the last few weeks, I did really good. I think the cycle has slowed down a little bit.
I think it must be my turn.
It's your turn. You got it.
It must be
you
my
got
turn.
it. I mean, well, my fascination was always buying books at garage sales and estate sales. You know, that was the way it started for me, literally. But I'm going to take a break for a minute. Edie wants to come on and say hello to you and talk to some people about miniature books. Madlyn,
Yes.
Can you stay with us?
Would you like me for another few minutes? Sure.
It'd be a pleasure.
I like to see
I'll be
you.
back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I'm gonna go. Okay, don't worry about it. It's only a cup of tea and it didn't spill.
You don't want a cup of tea on miniature
All
books.
right. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, it was heavy. Okay. All right. I got to take a break and get some ice. Oh shit. What was it? It was a paperweight.
Hi, Edie.
I noticed here
Hi.
David Foxlow has asked me to keep an eye out for some postcards and stuff. And one of
A
the things
paperweight
that,
fell on my head.
Oh, dear.
well,
So what can I say?
I don't know, Madlyn, do you get much cause for what I will generally call ephemera?
This was the culprit.
Do I
They
get much
fired
You
call?
probably-
bullets in the website.
Do I get much call to sell
You
it or
alright?
to buy it?
Please take this. I want to go away.
Okay.
Thorne, did you
Yes,
ask me if I get
Go
calls
lie
to
down.
sell it or to buy it?
I just wanted
I'll be back. You guys talk to me. She got hurt. This was literally
They keep
a
talking
big
and I can't hear.
blue site. I'll be right back. I just want to get some ice on it.
Okay.
Okay, basically, I think, Madlyn, we now have to run the show here. We have a casualty. So I was just wondering what we have here in terms of, it looks like Margaret's coming in too. So let's see what she has. Steve has left, and he is the general host. I guess I am also considered a host. So here's Margaret. And we're going to welcome Margaret here in a second, as soon as she gets her. Okay, Margaret, can you hear us?
Well, I can. Hold on.
Hi, Margaret.
I was going to be on camera here. Let's see. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
You're on camera to a certain extent, but you need to kind of adjust it till we see more of your face. See how Madlyn and I are centered?
Back a ways, yes. There you go.
You're getting better.
You hear me?
We
Not
can hear you
really.
barely. You're very quiet.
Well, I'm very I think the numbers just went down.
Oh.
I know, I'm getting a lot of people calling in. I don't know how this works, so I'm all new.
Oh, hi.
Steve, we have Madlyn in here.
Who's on with us?
Madlyn Nicoletti.
No, it's Margaret.
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 Margaret, hey, how are you?
Oh, sorry, Margaret.
Well,
You're not coming in loud and clear, and you're very fuzzy. Try rebooting.
I will. I'm enjoying the show, though.
Thank you. Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment.
I know. And I got to see if your wife needs a lawyer,
I sit in this every day, 25 times a day. This never hit me in the head. It's a very collectible block of Weatherby bullets. I want you to know that.
It's going to be a Dateline tonight.
Oh, I'm in trouble later. I'll tell you that. You have to be my fault. I know.
Something. Middle as the culprit.
I barely hear you, Margaret.
Thorne, you were asking about ephemera, and at the last book fair, I sold the majority of things that I sold were ephemera, between postcards and maps and signed letters, and I can't think of other, those types of things was the majority of the sales.
Are you familiar with Kara?
Yes.
Kara?
Mm-hmm.
I happen to be on a mailing list for her, and she's very strong, and I guess would be feminist things. But I noticed she has a tremendous amount of, I can only say this with compliments, most unusual ephemera. She has things that, that she goes to book fairs and scouts and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I've seen her at book fairs, I've known her. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in class with her at Rare Book School this July.
Oh, cool.
Which will be taking a course on the publishers binding together in July at Rare Book School, University of Virginia.
Oh,
but I know her stuff, and she's very specialized in women's articles. We've chatted about where she gets it, and I'm not trying to have any secrets here. But she really has an interesting eye for ephemera, which I do not have. I like literature, and I have a difficulty personally with storing ephemera, transporting it, organizing it.
Oh,
which,
I know.
I mean, at the same point, though, I mean, you can have a briefcase this big full of 20 sheets of ephemera worth $1 million, and you walk on, and then you
exactly
have some advantage. Sometimes books.
I have boxes of advertising and boxes of postcards. One of the more interesting things I have stored in my bedroom now, because I just can't think of any place else to put it. It's about 4 foot tall, seriously. At least 3 foot tall. Maybe just 3 foot tall, of notebooks, boxes, filed boxes that are, wide and deep, of farm history.
Wow.
Letters, stationery, receipts, records of every conceivable kind of a farm business. I think in Illinois, if I remember correctly. And it went on for probably 20 years of records.
What time period? And do you have any farm equipment catalogs in there?
I don't have the farm equipment catalogs. I have some interesting catalogs on auctioning off cattle. They're so interesting. There are photographs of the cattle. Now, if I say cows or bulls or what, I'm going to make it general cattle. And they gave the weight and the height and the parenting and how much milk they gave and how many calves they had and the weight of the calves and the milk production, I think, by day in these auction catalogs, or at least the average in the auction catalogs. Absolutely amazing record keeping that I had never seen before. But
what time period?
1920s and 30s in that period of time. Maybe 1916. I can't remember exactly when it began.
Have you done any? Have you done any research on this to say whether one of the farmers was well known?
Not yet. I haven't yet. I haven't had it that long. But I just can't. I'm just blown away by the types of stationery and the type of record keeping that the farmers did. I mean, considering you're having to milk and all the farm stuff that took place, this is the business side of the farming, and it's just awesome. I don't know when they had time to do it. I mean,
they didn't have television.
Yeah, I don't think they were sitting back watching TV too much at the time. But this was way back when they were also had like Fortune magazines. It took a month to read of a Fortune magazine. This wasn't People magazine, you know. So at the same time that we lost Thorne. I guess I did.
Yeah, we just lost Thorne.
I think I bored him to death. He's not a farm boy.
You know, he's back.
There he is.
Oddly enough, I used to own 5 farms in Iowa.
Did you really? Did you keep the detailed records of how much milk each cow gave?
We were beef cattle, not milk cattle, but
oh, okay.
The dairy industry in particular, that's quite common because that's the value of the cow. And what you do is once the butterfat yield goes down, you turn it into a cheeseburger.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, what's kind of interesting about that as well in the auction catalog, you know, in the book business, we're always arguing about shipping. Do we include shipping? Is shipping extra? Where will we ship it? How will we ship the books because they're heavy, you know? In the auction catalog, shipping the cow or the cattle piece, whatever kind of animal it was included in the purchase price of the auction price. Will ship. I thought that was astounding. If we think books are heavy, we have to put it in perspective.
Well, that's interesting because when I used to buy and sell at auction in Iowa, and basically it was FOB. You delivered them to the auction and you picked them up with your equipment and took them away.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the cattle drives with John Wayne are long over. I can't imagine. I mean, it was at the sale barn. It was in the back of the sale barn. You know, that's where you picked them up, or cash on the barrelhead kind of thing.
Right.
I have no idea what that was all about. I mean, we obviously, my farms were 45 miles from Des Moines, Iowa, and the closest slaughterhouse, there was 3 when I was in business, were in Des Moines. We engaged trucking companies, and we would ship a semi-load of 20 or 30 head as they grew to the size that was appropriate. Mm-hmm. But that was part of one of our costs. I can't. I mean, maybe there was Jeff Bezos' grandfather was shipping for free in the farm business too.
I think this was like the Sotheby's of farm auctions. Evidently, I don't know that much about farm auctions. I got to tell you, but I found reading just that catalog to be extremely interesting. Maybe next time I'll bring it on air and show you some of the details of what they described in the auction catalog.
Why, my man?
Is your phone ringing?
It's not my phone.
Okay.
I just my phone was going off up front. I'm looking at my camera, watching my manager ignore the phone call.
Give me 1 second. I just want to check on Edie. I'll be right back.
But now I think it's back to us. But the ephemera thing I find fascinating. You know, I'm going to have to get this. Do you want to go on? Can I help you?
This is pretty funny. Now I am hosting.
Madlyn,
Hi,
you
Allan.
are the host.
Would you like to talk photography?
Absolutely.
Where have you been lately, Allan?
I've
Taking pictures, that is.
I have not had the opportunity. Well, I did have the opportunity to shoot out at the beach not long ago.
Oh, okay.
And
right.
That's always a delight.
Okay. Allan likes to take photography, and I've been getting better at it myself lately.
So we're turning this into a photography show since the 2 hosts have left.
Hey, if you want to talk seriously about photography,
Here, hand me that so I can move it away.
June 18th on Bucks on the Bookshelf, we're going to be talking with Alex Novak, who's a major image dealer, and he will come on the show on both shows in October, just before the big Antiquarian event in New York.
Oh.
Just as a little publicity event.
Right.
The Walking Wounded is back amongst us, so I'm going to put Edie on again, okay?
All right.
All right?
Okay, Thorne.
I'm having a
Thorne, I'm going to pop out, but
time talk.
lock the seat behind me and open it if you have a guest that wants to come on.
Hello, here I am.
Hey, how you feeling, Edie?
Well, I'm going to have a bump on my head,
I'm
but
sorry.
as
Thorne, did
my
you hear me?
father. What?
Thorne?
Oops. We lost somebody, Edie.
Okay, we lost Thorne. Allan, I'm sure can get him back, or does Stephen have to do it?
He'll pop back in a minute.
Okay.
Sometimes
No,
he
my
has
father
customers.
used to say, if you have to hurt, bang yourself in the head because it's empty.
Yeah.
But what can I say?
Nice
Hey,
dad.
Thorne,
good to see you, Madlyn.
How
Thorne.
are you? Nice to see you.
I'm going to pop out, lock the seat, and then you can open it if somebody wants to come in.
Okay, I thought you made a pop out. That's why I left. I couldn't hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Anyhow, last week, Madlyn, I showed that beautiful reference book that I got from you,
Yes.
and that beautiful little keepsake from that was from the Florida authoress.
Yes.
But I really didn't know about her to tell everybody.
Oh.
And it was something I was going to ask you to tell me. But today, the girls from Copperfish Books had put somebody in touch with me, and her name was Lois Porter. And Kathy and Serena put her in touch with me because she had a bunch of miniature books to sell. And I bought them. I showed some of them on here.
Oh, okay.
And what I was going to talk about today is there could be a specialty within miniature books. Like this is a Saint Ange about the Sermon on the Mount.
Uh-huh.
This is the 23rd Psalm in a miniature book.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a miniature book about miniatures. and the miniatures that are talked about in this particular book are miniatures in dollhouses, in furniture, in decorations for whatnot, shelves, etc. But it is a book, a miniature book on miniatures. Okay. And then a lot of people will also specialize in miniature books that are historic. Like this one is a copy of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, that's pretty.
This is a duplicate. So I am now going to be selling my duplicates.
Oh, okay.
But this woman had a collection of miniature books, and she just wanted to get rid of them. This is Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And I have 2 copies of that.
Yeah.
And those are Saint Ange books, which are always beautiful. This one is the inaugural address of John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Now, this one is interesting because the true first edition does not have the seal on the back.
Oh.
So this is the second edition of this particular book. And
by that publisher? The second edition by that publisher?
Yeah. And because there's a red seal, this is not the second edition. It is the third edition.
Oh, my goodness.
So that of the inaugural address of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, which is still very wanted online, they have come out with, and Saint Ange came out with 3 different versions. But people will specialize in historic miniatures, like, that's what I already had. The inaugural addresses, the Declaration of Independence. I have many other addresses of the presidents that are part of a historic series. I don't have them all, but I keep on looking. And this is Notes of 2 Cities. And I've got 2 copies of that one too. So, but the miniature books, within the miniature books, like the book that you gave me with the 2 letters, I love it. I mean, so I was waving around the letters to show who it belonged to, because that's important too, for who a book belonged to, etc. And I can't thank you enough, Madlyn.
Oh, my pleasure.
Believe
me.
A book lady, absolutely. But never old, never old. You're wonderful.
Well, I love selling nice books to people who appreciate them. You know, that's.
Well, you know I love my miniatures, and Sean is such a doll.
Yeah.
And he, in his own right, he's just an expert on paper. He should be on this show sometime if he weren't so shy.
Oh, is that right?
But I love him, yes.
Oh, that's too bad.
Okay, I'm going to give you back to Steve.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for your concern.
All right, good
I'll
luck.
be okay.
Keep us up to date.
I'll let you. Just a minute.
It's not good when a husband drops a paperweight on his wife's head on
Where'd they come
TV.
from? The top of the bouquet? Out front? Yeah. Okay.
On that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if you notice, Thorne, my camera has been repaired. I got a new computer. I'm no longer upside down.
Oh yes, I noticed it last time. It was very interesting to watch you speak there. So.
No one could figure out what the problem was. Microsoft, you know, no one knew what the problem was. So the solution was getting a new computer.
Well, that's a lot of times it just seems to be the only thing to do. There's so much software interacting with things, so much garbage back at your registrar.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better just to clean it out and start all over again.
That seemed to have been at least I had an interesting problem.
Yeah.
Wasn't just the run-of-the-mill, geez, I got a virus problem.
The upside-down head problem.
Yeah.
I have.
It was a little tricky standing on my head doing an interview, you know, especially when I'm trying to show a book right side up.
I have an anthology I use for my framework. It's a very popular book software. And with that, we print labels, we print receipts. So then we have a main printer, which we run off the same computer, print letterheads or whatever. And over the weekend, on last Sunday, we had number of sales and printed the receipts out of the receipt printer. On Monday, with doing nothing, it decided it didn't work. We called the anthology software guys, and they were with it for a while. It became a matter of plug it, unplug it, turn it on, turn it off. And eventually, all of a sudden, it came back up, and the tech guy said, I don't know, we got it back up, have a nice day. So, sometimes the thing is just frustrating, but
It is.
I really don't care. And basically, it was somewhere in that sequence, something needed to be plugged and unplugged. But we literally unplugged and replugged multiple machines, something interacting with something. Once, there's no real way of tracking it. If it works, have a nice day and move on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Years ago, I have a PhD in information technology. I talked to a Microsoft guy. And they were saying, you know, and Microsoft goes and they test. Every time they come out with a new Windows, they test thousands, tens of thousands of independent softwares. Mm-hmm. There's so much software out there. And what he said, I've always thought was a great explanation. He says, for us to test every possible combination of every possible software and version of that software, we're in a situation where we'll be doing that more than there's stars in the sky.
Oh, my God.
So, you know,
that's probably true.
There's 10,000, and then you get some wacky combination of printers and old software. And I am still firmly convinced that with this nonsense they tell you about a processor and memory and all that, this is really not true. I have a PhD in this. There's little Goebbels that are like this. Once the Goebbels, sometimes they have a bad hair day. Nothing works. Once they get right, look, really cute little guys. Just like little rats.
That probably was quite a thesis that you wrote on that.
How many people say, "Yeah, it works for me."
I have a thesis that you wrote on my bookcase back there.
I think, unfortunately, that was on the technology acceptance method, where I wrote my PhD thesis on whether or not wealthier countries use the internet more than poorer countries. I wrote it about 20 years ago, and I actually got away with proving that rich people had more internet access than poor people. I don't think you know what really changed it was the smartphones. Because I could not get away with that before. But there was, when I used to teach, we used to have a lot of our freshman students at Palm Beach Atlantic University came from the Caribbean or the Appalachians as scholarship students. And those, not too long ago, 15, 20 years ago, those were a lot of students when that was still a popular magazine. Mm-hmm. When they would have a computer in their library, and that may, or that would be access for the whole school. So this idea of having internet, I mean, the power in this thing right here is probably, my watch for God's sakes, is more than we had on the moonshots.
That's what I understand.
And this is what, a couple $100. What was the moonshot? A couple billion. So it has changed a little bit in our favor.
Yeah, I have an interesting
color too, and the other one weren't. So
I have an interesting fact for you about the internet, Thorne. I bet you didn't know this. You ready?
Okay.
I'm going to test your knowledge. At the style book that the journalists use, for newspapers and such.
MLA.
No, the style book for grammar and such.
Strunk.
As of now, internet is no longer capitalized.
Because it's become a common word. It used to be the internet. Now it's gone from a noun to a verb or vice versa or something.
It never should have been, because it wasn't a place.
Yeah.
But it was always capitalized. And the most recent version of the style book came out yesterday, and internet is no longer capitalized.
I am fascinated by the change in languages. I do a lot of. I just got a book in yesterday. I think we were talking about it earlier. 1760 something, when Dionysus went to whatever, and the lady. I am pretty good, and I'm getting okay at reading early 18th century, late 17th century English books, and as you feel that.
For you.
The words have changed. The spelling is radically different. The usages on many new words have come in. I just was reading a book on languages, and the English language are influences, some from Latin, but from French, other words, some made-up words. And in our business, in the book business, sometimes I find myself having, not just books in Latin, which I have my favorite English book of all time is this one right here. That gets me through. Like the Rare Book School offers a course in Virginia, which I am not going to take. Are you both familiar with the Secretary's Hand?
No.
Okay, Steve. That was formal writing, and Steve, you have to back me up, about the early 18th century. That was different than the handwriting. The secretary in those times was an educated person. This was something that the Parliament would write in. A lawyer would write in hand. It was a different type of handwriting than what just people got. I remember 300-400 years ago, only about 5% of the population was educated, could both read and write. So they had a formal writing in England and a less formal. There's a lady who teaches it. It pretty much died out around 1800, I think, but I have actually flipped through the book, and it's a 1 week. It's difficult to read what that is compared to what we're used to reading and printing. It was more written, but when you deal with manuscripts, wow, I have a very hard time reading 17th and 18th century manuscripts.
Everybody does. It's the same thing. You get I'm doing some old Spanish letters for an appraisal now. And it's really hard to read some of that European cursive from whatever century it was, But you were saying something, and I'm not sure, how you meant it. You were saying something about secretarial, where I know our definition is the same, but I'm not sure if you were using secretarial and scribe. I think what you were talking about was there was the main person writing, and they had scribes. But the words,
it's called secretarial writing.
Oh, okay, then that's something else.
Sure.
I thought you were using the word in relation to like what's in Hamilton's secretarial writing, as in
no, it was a
secretarial signatures.
Formal writing used for legal documents, acts of parliament. It was not used for letter writing between literate people. It was not used for literature. It was used for, but like the. What was the association in England that used to control the books for a couple hundred years?
No, I don't
ABA,
remember the
no.
name of the ABA.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you
Have
mean.
formal documents that were written
Right.
and stuff. And so if you're doing research, it's offered at the Rare Book School every year or two. It's a lady that offers the course, and it is a different style of writing primarily. And
Now that I understand. I just wasn't sure. There was a multi-definition on secretarial. I wasn't sure how you were using it. But I know what you mean. I know what you.
The correct term is secretarial, but it'd probably be more logical to call it business handwriting versus it was almost a form of I hate to use it, not the. It wasn't like cursive versus regular. It was it's the more stylized form of writing.
More formal.
Yeah.
More formal. I like the difference between Espanol and Castellano.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You know what was published 2 or 3 days ago, based on a book, if you will. The Bible has now talk about how literature will evolve.
But I can't hear. There's something.
Yeah, you're echoing.
Steve,
You're echoing.
I'm going to sign out, Steve, because I can't hear now. Okay, nice to
It's
see
echoing. Madlyn, good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to see you too.
Okay.
I think we're running, Thorne, we're running into technicals. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Madlyn, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. It has been a pleasure being with you all today. It seems like we're getting into a sound problem, and rather than give you bad quality content, we'll just see you guys next week. Next week on Books on the Bookshelf at noon to 2 on WDBFradio.com and WDBFradio.fm. Join us. We will be talking with Paul from Fine Editions in upstate New York. I don't remember the exact town. He's been around for quite a while. Specializes in some interesting things. We will keep you posted as to what we're developing for the Rare Book Cafe. Thorne, thanks for joining us. I hope the salmon cycle fills up. You too. Hope you find something rare and wonderful. Take care, man.